All right, the cardinal responsibility of any responsible government is the protection of lives and property.
Yes.
And in the last, how many days now? Let's say in the last 10 days, reports has it that over 90 people have been killed in the northwest. 49 villagers were massacred in Kebbi, Kwara, Plateau. The emir of Gobia was reportedly killed in Sokoto. 5 worshippers slaughtered on Easter Sunday in Kaduna, with 35 abducted. And Nigeria right now is the 4th when it comes to global terrorism index in terms of death. Do you think the government has abandoned its people?
Government has never even been with the people. The government of Tinubu has always been about himself. Most of the stories we have heard since he became president was always how to build a presidential mansion for the VP, when there's enough housing assets where the VP can live for some time, because both the VP and the president, they were not common people before they became who they are. They're very rich people. They have their own houses in Abuja, you know. And then the Nigerian state also have houses for the VP. The first thing he did also spend a lot of money, billions of naira, building a mansion for the VP. The next thing they did was for him to replace his plane, worth billions of dollars. And then the next thing he did, if at any point in time where Nigerians are being killed, the next thing you hear is that the president has gone to Australia, he has gone to France, he has gone to Turkey, he goes to all sort of places, and those places he goes to are not all about our interests. They're all about his own interests, because sometimes, even like the time he traveled to Brazil, he disappeared for like 2 weeks. Nobody knows exactly where he was. There were a lot of speculation that he went to France to treat himself. I don't know what else, health condition he has. You understand? And that even if, let's even talk about this health condition of presidents. In America, not quite long ago, the president had a surgery, minor surgery. It was announced publicly what was wrong with him. Trump announced by himself that he was going for surgery and advised President Vance, J.D. Vance will take over that the surgery will last for a few hours. Why do we keep having people who will be airlifted from Nigeria to God knows where, and they spend days? We thought the Muhammad Buhari's scenarios have ended with Buhari. But it's quite unfortunate. And then they don't even tell us the truth. They always lie to us that have gone for so-called conferences and meetings with presidents, and then you see him all over the place moving around with either the old man in England that was holding him, you know, an old man, another younger person holding him, and so that he does not fall. In Turkey, he fell down. So you have a lot of issues that have to do with this government. Government had not been with the people. And then when people were killed, he didn't mention that of Jos. Jos has always had issues of Palm Sunday massacre and December 24th, Christmas Eve massacre. It didn't start with Tinubu. It has always been a tradition. But the security forces have refused to stem the tide. And then this last one that happened during the Palm Sunday, when a lot of people were killed, more than over 100 people were killed. They told us 40. But over 100 people were killed in Jos. The Angwa Rukuba. Everybody. And the unfortunate thing is that Angwa Rukuba is trackable to where you have Division 3, or what they call it, this thing, they call Army Division. The Army Division is not far away from that place. Yes, where the terrorists went and killed so many people. The army did not intervene. And then the president, who said he is the president of the country, that he was going to go and visit the victims, he went to Haipang, he didn't go to Jos. People said he traveled to Jos. He didn't go to Jos. The airport in Plateau State is not in Jos. The airport in Plateau State is in Haipang. Everybody who is a Nigerian that has traveled all across Nigeria, I don't mean those who are either born in Lagos, they stay in Lagos for 50 years. If you are a Nigerian, you must have traveled to places. You should have known that the airport in Jos, in Plateau State, is not in Jos. The president went to Haipang and stopped in Haipang. They now went and arranged some people, some arrangee kind of thing, and brought to the airport for him to address. Is that what he's supposed to do? And then let's not even talk about the president alone. What about the governor, who was in an armored car? The governor, you say you're a governor of a state, and your people were killed, and you went there to see what happened. The terrorists have already run away, and you're still afraid. You're hiding inside the armored car, and you call yourself a governor. If you are so unsure of your own security, why did you campaign to become governor? If you can't protect your people, why not resign? The governor of Plateau State ought to have resigned a long time ago, but because we have a system where even the houses of assemblies are made up of houseboys of governors. Let me use that word, because even in my own state, that is even the worst, where you have Imo State, where you have a case of, you have a governor who spends all his time in Metama. He lives in Metama, his house there, and from there he goes to Asoro. He's always in Asoro, right? Anytime the president is going to have any event, you will see the governor of Imo State. And then the people are talking in hushed voices, because if I live in my state and I'm talking the way I'm talking from Abuja here, I would have been killed a long time ago. Or either they try to arrest you. If they can't arrest you, they will sniff you out and kill you. Imo State is like most other states where they don't allow critics to exist freely. In Ebonyi State, if they catch you, they're going to flog you. They flog you. They flog journalists who write stories that they want. They flog you or make you to you understand. And then the State House of Assembly in Imo State cannot even summon the governor and say, why are you always in Abuja? Why can't you stay in Owerri? And you go to Imo State, our state, I have a house in Owerri. If each time I go home, I'll stay at least up to a week. There will be no light. No light. And every time, the person taking care of the house always asks me to pay every month, even though it's little money. And then, there's no light anywhere around that place. And it's not as if it's a house that is located in one village. It's just off Hadel Junction. That is right inside it. You just less than 3 minutes you drive to Rugby, you drive to where the governor's office is, and yet they don't have light. Most people in Owerri don't have light. Are you talking about the rural communities in Imo State? They don't have light for years. There's no governance going on there. The only thing that the governor has done in the last how many years that he's been there for like 4 or 5 years now is just which is good. I commend him for that. The federal highway he said he built, the highway that leads from Owerri to up to Okiwe, or the one that leads from Owerri to Olo, which is a very wonderful job that the governor has done. But outside those 2 roads, there's nothing going on.
At least more people can celebrate that. There are
some, there's only at least
states where they have nothing to show.
Exactly. Like in Edo State, where you have a governor that spends so much money paying the Agbero that goes around. Your governor is coming to a place now. If the governor is coming to this place for interview, the Agbero will come first before him. Let's say I'm the governor of, I can't even pronounce his name, Obepolo or whatever he call it. If the governor is coming for this interview, the Agbero that will be shouting his name, the press singer, would have been by your gate 30 minutes before he comes. Immediately the governor, inside the governor, he starts singing his praises like this is second Jesus. You understand? So that's what they do in most of these other states, praise singing. They don't care about governance.
All right. We are hearing disturbing stories about bandits now possessing anti-aircraft weapons. They are shooting down military jets we land. And if a criminal organization has military-grade anti-aircraft capability inside Nigeria, what does that say about our military institution and security apparatus?
It says a lot. It says a lot about procurement corruption in the system. It says so much about protecting what Nigeria has been able to buy. Even the second-hand things that they buy for the military, they don't protect them well enough. When soldiers mobilize to theaters of battles, sometimes you see those ragtag. They're no longer ragtag. We call them ragtag terrorists. They're very sophisticated because most of them were trained in places like Chad, some were trained in Libya, some were trained in Somalia. So those boys, you see them dressing like ruffians. They are not ruffians. They're well trained. They are really militants. They're militants who are out. They believe that what they're fighting is jihad. They're fighting on behalf of their own religion. They want to set up countries like what they have in Afghanistan. That's what they're trying to set up in Nigeria. But foolishly, they think Nigeria is like Afghanistan, where you have only Muslims. Even the real Muslims don't even want to have such an establishment. So you have those guys, most of the weapons they display were stolen from the Nigerian army. And then you have a cases of generals. Maybe, I don't know whether they manufacture generals in Nigeria like the way they manufacture pure water. Otherwise, if you go to a place like the US, do you know what it means for you to be a brigadier general, a general in the US Army? How many generals? I don't think America has more than 50 generals. I don't think. Because, or maybe because they don't come out like the way general. Like I saw one general in Abia State. He was going home for Easter. More than 50 cars he used to go home. A general is coming back home. He just got promoted. I don't want to mention his name. I know his name. It's a part of Abia State. He was just going there and a general is. So generals, either the general has been, it has become so cheap now in Nigeria to become a general. But it's not cheap, as people will think, because it takes them years. No matter how dull you are, for you to be a general, it takes you like up to 30-something years. The job you are doing for 30-something years is no longer a small job. So you have generals being killed by boys who didn't even go to primary school. I mean, it's quite unfortunate. And then when the killing happens, they try to rationalize it. I mean, try to explain it. This last one, the explanation, I just felt like if I was close to the person giving that explanation, maybe I thank God I'm no longer very active as a journalist. If I'm there and I'm very close to the person, I will slap him. Because that explanation he made is an insult to our intelligence. You're saying that the man was trying to start his armored vehicle and the thing had already been demobilized. Who demobilized it? Can a vehicle be set demobilized in a battlefield? So what kind of an idiotic explanation is that? And then the other guy that was killed, they haven't even found his corpse. They don't know whether he's dead or he's not dead. The Oba of a guy. The first general they killed. You know. And they keep killing generals like they're killing fowls. And then not even talking about the number of other ranks that have been killed. They kill them like chickens. The Boko Haram people. And then you have a chief of defense staff who ought to have been sacked. In fact, he ought to have been prosecuted for negligence of duty, dereliction of duty. The current chief of defense staff ought to have been dismissed and prosecuted. You have him going all over. The other time he went to one of these small African countries to go and collect award, either Sierra Leone or so. And then Nigeria is on fire, you're going to go collect award in Sierra Leone. And then you're trying to rationalize the killing of a general, the last general, the guy from Edo State they killed.
Was same in prime.
You cannot explain it. It's an unpardonable dereliction of duty. And the reason why these things keep happening is because when they happen, beginning from even Buhari's era, when they kill top-ranking military officers or when they kill Nigerians, because everybody matters. It doesn't matter whether you're a general or you are a farmer. If Boko Haram had killed like 30 villagers or even one villager, if you watch Sky News, you watch CNN, you watch some of these television stations that are coming from the advanced democracies. Let me even use Sky News that I'm very used to. If something happened in Britain, let's say a child of 2 years was killed, the kind of focus the TV gives to it, the whole country is making an effort to make sure that the person that killed that person is arrested. There's no accountability in Nigeria. People kill, and they are called prodigal sons. You have a chief of defense staff being allowed to insult all of us, and he has not been arrested. So even the Christians that ought to be on the street are protesting. Why should the chief of defense staff compare Boko Haram with prodigal son? Does he read his Bible at all? He's a Christian. Maybe he doesn't have a copy of the Bible. You should go and read who the prodigal son is. The prodigal son is not a terrorist. The prodigal son was just a rascal who felt that he has come of age. My daddy is very rich, and we're just two. So please give me my own money. Let me just, maybe they're living somewhere in Imo State. No, give me my money. I want to go to Abuja. And the father said, okay, are you sure you're okay with that? The father gave him money. He went to Lagos. He went to Abuja and started carrying all the Abuja babes. He started carrying all the girls in Zone 4. By the time he ended up finishing his money, he remembered that it's a tough time. He even started eating from where the rare pigs were eating foods that are meant for pigs. So when he came back to his senses, he decided to go back to his father because his father was still very rich. That is the story of the prodigal son. If the chief of defense staff doesn't have a copy of the Bible, maybe he has not even gone to church since maybe the last 30 years, he should go and ask a local pastor close to him who the prodigal son is. Prodigal son is not the same thing with Boko Haram. Boko Haram is not prodigal son. But Boko Haram does not deserve reintegration. It doesn't deserve rehabilitation. It doesn't deserve de-radicalization even. What Boko Haram deserves is to dispatch them to hell. They belong to hell. They're supposed to go and meet Satan. That's where Boko Haram belongs. They are not prodigal sons.
There is growing debate even among northern elders about whether Nigeria should accept foreign military aid to tackle banditry. Some are asking if the military has reached that point where we can't win the war ourselves. What is your take on this?
Well, using mercenaries is not illegal. Even America has the strongest army in the world. Americans use mercenaries in Afghanistan. The mercenary that fought with the American soldiers in Iraq is a private mercenary of army trained armed officers. Then when you come to Nigeria and they say we do not need mercenaries, we need foreign mercenaries in Nigeria to fight, because Nigerian soldiers have told us that they are not experts in asymmetrical warfare. And then the government has refused to do the commonest, somebody that has a common sense. If those in government really have common sense, that's why I think they don't have common sense. If anybody in government, particularly the Mr. President who has the power, or the commissioners of police who have the power to give arms, particularly the parliament, they should have amended the law, relevant laws, to allow people to carry AK-49 and military-grade weapons. Because if you go to chapter 4 of the Constitution, the most basic right is the right to life. And once your life is cut off, once you are dead, that is the only human right that you cannot recover. And then you have people being killed like chickens, and people, Human Rights Organization of Nigeria has been calling on government to allow people to carry AK-49, AK-47, AK-49, and even weapons that are even higher than that, which is what these boys that didn't even go to private school are carrying. Now they are even better than us because they are experts on social media. They post people they kidnap, they post their weapons, everybody see the kind of weapons they carry. And yet they don't want to arm Nigerians. And the soldiers we have, who are legally authorized to carry those weapons, we simply go to the theater of war, and when a little thing happens, they will abandon those weapons and these boys will carry it away. And then you have a soldier, a fighting army that cannot devise counter ambush techniques. Soldiers have always been killed in ambush. Even the colonel that was killed yesterday, the colonel, somebody Mohammed, that was killed yesterday, a very nice combatant that was killed. It was an ambush. Most of the soldiers that have been killed was either that they planted, bombs, explosive device, or it's mostly during ambush. Do we not have technology? Do we not have drones that determines where somebody is hiding? Americans, if they're fighting war, have you ever heard that Americans were killed in ambush? You can't kill Americans just in ambush because before. Okay, let me give you a story that I just read this morning as I was coming here. Do you know that in Ukraine, the fights between Ukraine and Russia, yesterday, Ukraine recaptured a part of their country that was taken over by Russia for over a year. You know who they used to capture it? And the soldiers from Russia surrendered to them. They did not surrender to human beings. You know who they surrendered to? Robots. The Ukrainians use robots. These robots that one professor in Nigeria is even, I think they didn't even allow him to leave America. I don't know how he managed to leave America, and he became a minister of power in Nigeria. One of these guys, the man who is building, Batnaj is a robotic scientist. And we have so many robotic scientists. Even younger Nigerians have that. A lot of Nigerians are even building robots. Even those in secondary school are building robots as part of their physical whatever. And then Ukrainians use robots. Go and browse the story. I read it as I was coming here, in fact, inside the car. Robots were the one that recaptured the place that was seized by Russia, and the Russians surrendered to them. Can't Nigerian soldier, if they are afraid, because they said Igbo people are not joining soldier, people say, why can't we join? They are actually joining, but I'm just joining enough number. And then one of the soldiers that was fighting the war in Borno State said, sons of governors and the sons, Shehi. Of course, can you imagine somebody asking Shehi to join the army and fight war in Borno State when Shehi is busy sharing rice so that his father can win an election? They will not be happy now. The guy was sacked because he said politicians should also send their children to join the army. What is wrong with what the guy said? You understand? So if you don't want your children to go and die like the children of commoners who don't have any other alternative but to join the army, they are all dying in their thousands. You don't want your children to die. Why can't we invest in technology? Use technology to fight war. Why can't you behave like the Ukrainians? You can imagine how the mighty Russia fighting Ukraine for over how many years, and they have not been able to conquer Ukraine. Although Ukraine has a luck of having assistance from the European Union. But this one that happened yesterday was not with the assistance of the European Union. They developed it locally. They manufactured robots that were fighting like human beings. And the Russians surrendered.